The world's biggest club competition has reached the business end. The usual suspects will be eyeing up the Champions League once again, but there are new contenders in the mix. So, who will walk away with one of football's most prestigious prizes in 2023?
Hello there and welcome to Football Now from Doha as we look ahead to the return of the Champions League. Last year it was Real Madrid who won the big trophy for a record 14th time. But this year the competition is still wide open as we reach the first round of the knockout stages. So what exactly is the Champions League and why does it mean so much to so many teams?
It's the prize that every club wants to win. It is the biggest club competition in the world. It's the most prestigious. So yeah, you can't really do, I mean, there's always an argument, would you rather win your domestic league title or would you rather win the Champions League? Certainly that's perhaps something that's debated in the English Premier League, which is so competitive. But perhaps when you look at leagues outside of that, the German Bundesliga, Liga in France, where Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich have generally ruled the roost, then the UEFA Champions League does tend to become the prize that they covet above all others.
The tournament begins with 32 teams split into 8 groups of 4 who have qualified as reward for being the best sides in their domestic leagues. After 6 fixtures against your group opponents, the total number of teams is halved for the knockout stages, where it's a race to the showpiece final and glory in the biggest club competition of them all.
So now we know what the tournament is all about, but which ties will produce the biggest fireworks as the road to Istanbul 2023 continues?
The round of 16 this year has produced a handful of exciting ties. Champions Real Madrid will take on struggling Liverpool for a chance to continue their dominance of their recent meetings.
I believe that Real Madrid and Liverpool are really the royalty teams of the Champions League. So as a fan, I'm really excited to see that matchup. And I don't really know how to tackle or how to analyze this particular matchup because we don't really know what to expect from these teams. If you're not performing in the league the way you should be, they should turn it up in the Champions League. That's their way to save their season or to save their year. That is the time where you need to be at the top of your game.
A heavyweight clash between French and German champions PSG and Bayern Munich will be sure to have everyone watching in a repeat of the 2020 final. Will Messi, Neymar and Mbappe be too much for Julian Nagelsmann's side?
I believe that Bayern may have the edge in this one purely because they play the second leg at home. And PSG are really a team that are struggling playing on the road. That's really where I see the difference in this matchup. Playing the second leg in Germany is actually, from my point of view, going to be a crucial factor.
Italian champions Milan host the first leg of an intriguing tie with Tottenham in a game that will see Antonio Conte return to his old stomping ground, the San Siro. And Spurs' London rivals and 2-times winners Chelsea travel to Germany and the Yellow Wall in a tricky test against Borussia Dortmund.
So then the serial winners of this competition will be setting their sights on glory once again. But a common theme over the past few years has been those looking to win their first European Cup, specifically Manchester City and PSG, who have come close over the past few years, but not quite close enough. Both teams desperate to get their hands on the trophy, so could this year finally be the year that they do it?
Yeah, I do think this will be the year that PSG or Manchester City will win it, because I think, when you look at those last 16 ties, you've got a couple of big clubs or, the usual big hitters that will have to go out. There's some interesting routes, and I think because some of the big hitters are leaving perhaps a little bit earlier than expected, it might open the door for the likes of PSG and Man City to get through to, semi-finals or the final relatively smoothly, and then it's just whether or not they can kind of turn up on the day when it matters. I think those two, for me, it's going to be one of those two to win it this year. But I would say I still wouldn't rule out Real Madrid. I do think they just know how to win knockout football. I think they will certainly be there or thereabouts, and I think if Man City or PSG do go on to win it, then I think they'll have to beat Real Madrid on the way.
Well, despite never lifting the cup before, City and PSG are still amongst the favourites to reach Istanbul due to the size of their squads. However, there is one side that has the final on their radar, the Italian surprise package Napoli, who have made all the headlines domestically, and they sit top of Serie A. They could win the title for the first time since way back in 1990. So could they conquer Europe as well?
What matters the most for Napoli is to get the Serie A title over the line. I think the Champions League has to be viewed as a bonus. I don't think you can play the way that Napoli has played, not just in the Serie A, but also in the Champions League. They are dominating every single attacking stat in the Serie A, and they've been scoring for fun in Europe as well. I don't think you can play that kind of football and not have give echo throughout, Europe. And at home, at the Diego Maradona, at that stadium, they can beat anyone and have beaten anyone. So I actually think that they have a good chance to get to the latter stages. And given that they play Eintracht Frankfurt, they are a team that do leak goals. There are goals to be had against Eintracht Frankfurt, and that's a team that suits Napoli really, really well. I think a quarterfinal is the bare minimum we can ask of them. And then after that, it really is on the day that decides. But to reiterate, at home at the Maradona, they can beat anyone.
Yeah, interesting stuff indeed. That brings us to the end of this week's show. Do let us know your thoughts at home using the hashtag FootballNowChampionsLeague, and we'll see you at the same time next week. Bye for now.